going to start. Okay. Well, this movie. Wow, I was thinking about the main theme of the movie as we usually do for all the movies we have discussed.
Let's say what's the name of the movie for those that haven't watched it. And, like first we introduce like.
For example, David. Yeah, David. We watched The Brutalist. The Brutalist is a movie on the National Movie Archive here in Mexico, La Cineteca Nacional. We watched it a few days ago. It was directed by Bradley Covert, and I didn't check very well the awards, but I think that it was nominated for some awards. The main character appeared, or he starred in the Pianist, right? It's a movie with a similar topic, also in World War II. Yeah. So yeah, it was actually Leo's recommendation. So it was pretty good. So okay, actually, I think that Leo commented, or the last time when we watched the movie a few days ago, he mentioned what one of the main themes of the movie is, and I think that it's basically or like about freedom. It's one of the main themes. Freedom in this case, as we think about it, what is freedom? Like when you have the right to do whatever you want, or you have some options, right? You can make your own decision. You can say what you think. You can do what you want. Of course, there are always some restrictions. I have talked about this before with Mariano, right? In a society, we need institutions, we need rules. Of course, we understand that. But what does it make freedom or a free society different to slavery, for example, right? So there was a phrase in the beginning of the movie that mentioned something like that. Like more or less the phrase was like, the more free you feel, the less you really are, right? So yeah, basically we can see this main character going through. He was a Jewish character he was from Hungary, and he living in Germany. He studied in the Bauhaus. He was an architect. That's another important topic for featuring the movie. The Brutalist movement. Honestly, I didn't know about this movement, but it's an artistic movement, right? That features the material simplicity. And he moved to the U.S. in hopes of having a better life, right? And at the beginning, we can see the Statue of Liberty, and it was like very impressive, like this symbol I have here on my wall, right? Like the American dream, basically. Yeah. But through the movie, we can see that the American dream is turned like a little weird, right? It gets a little sketchy. It has some plot twists that I really liked. That I'm not sure if we are supposed to do spoilers here. But what do you think? Can we spoil people or with better?
Yeah, sure. Just a little bit.
Yeah, we can discuss some of the topics, and I don't think it's a problem.
Today, so. Sorry, man. Sorry.
Sorry for spoil you. I won't spoil the end. So, the end is not the best part, but yeah, in the end, we can see that there happened different things, right? It was very hard for this main character, whose name was Laszlo Toth, I researched. I thought he was a real person, but no, it seems that he was inspired by different architects and artists.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy was very famous in Germany in the movie, right? It's a fictional character. And in the US, he has this problem, right? Because some people recognized him as important, as a famous architect, but sometimes he was hard for him to believe that, right? Like he felt, or he also behaved as a slave, as a homeless. So it was hard for him to build his self-esteem. And I think that's another important part of the movie. Like, it doesn't matter how much potential you are, if you feel and society also makes you pushes you to feel like a small person, and as a slave or as an immigrant.
Like an outsider, no, or a beggar. Also, like you need to beg the people with money in order to gain access to build anything. So you're kind of always intertwined with the people, like I wouldn't what's the word, like mecenas, like art. It's always like pushed by those kind of people, and you can see the struggle that no matter how much or potential you have, you need to be intertwined with other people that have the capital. So it's kind of interesting how everything that it's built needs like people with money and also people with vision in order to achieve it. But the people with vision are not always the ones with the power. So it's interesting, like the dynamics of power in the movie, don't you think? Like you can see it all the time, like, and they treat you like a dog, and then they assert the power. And I think that's pretty interesting to see, like not only the struggle to achieve the American dream, but like to see what piece of the engine you are. Like you cannot be like the one on top. So it's interesting in that regard.
Yeah, and I mean, following that idea,
Mhm.
I think that this sentence they use at the very beginning of the movie. I mean, I also took my homework, so I actually found the script of the movie,
Mhm.
what I can share with you. And the phrase is, none are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe themselves free. I mean, for me, this is like part of the whole idea of freedom, of course. And as you are saying, it's part of this problem of which part of the whole system I am,
Mhm.
and how can I intervene in all this context to achieve what I want. For example, they wanted to have this American dream, right?
Mhm.
But for me, that phrase is like these Greek tragedies, like this fatal fate, that they cannot. I forgot the word. I mean, they
Like
are
escape the destiny,
confined to.
like
Like the destiny, because they wanted to be free and they worked so hard, but at the end, as you said, all these context, the material context in one side, and in the other one, how this relationship they have with the power and the rich people, these white people, uh, leave them to another kind of life that was a tragedy at the end. I mean, this Laszlo, right, was what's his name?
Laszlo.
Laszlo at the end was a drug addict. I forgot the name of the wife, but she has this issue with the mobility. I'm not sure it was polio or osteoporosis or something
Yeah,
like
like
that.
osteoporosis or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end, I mean, all these contexts, they were trying to find, this American dream and the freedom they wanted, but everyone there trying to just use them as a tool, as an advantage for something, but they don't give a fuck about anything related to their lives.
Yeah. But what do you think? Was the intention of what was the name of the father of the family? Like the antagonist, we could say. Like what what the thing is, what do you think was the idea to build the whole thing, like in the beginning, just like a memorial to her mother? Because I was thinking it's kind of the same like the Taj Mahal. Don't you think, like these kind of things are just uh, like momentums for the dead? And what's the point of leaving that behind? So we understand Laszlo, that he wants to build and have meaning, but what do you think was the intention of the mecenas in this regard to build the whole thing, like just to assert the power, or what do you think was it?
Yeah, my first answer is it's just about power, about I can do it when I want. This is my land. I have the money to do it, and if I have to give this guy who is a Jewish and immigrant this job, it doesn't matter. I want it in this way that I can do it. I mean, for just like the first thing that I'm thinking about, and probably the second is to live like a legacy. Probably he was afraid of the dead.
Yeah.
For sure. Something like that. What do you think, Luisito?
Of the patron, this guy, the businessman.
Yeah.
I think that he represents that, as you mentioned, the power, right? Like this at the beginning, he was like the savior of this. He was a rescuer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, right now he can do whatever he wants. He's going to support him, and he was really good to him because at first we thought that his son was a real evil character, right? Like he was after the encounter and the problem with the mom's house, right? But he was the one like trying to rape his daughter. I mean, Laszlo's daughter. Trying to control and trying to also take him apart from the project and this kind of thing. So I like that twist plot that eventually we saw that the savior, the patron, the businessman was not as good as we thought at the beginning, right? So again, I think that it represents like the first phrase that you mentioned. It's like what freedom is really is, right? Provided that, I mean, even or provided that you rely on someone else, and you cannot succeed or do your succeed on any project you have without their support. I think that that's not freedom because they have control on you. So as this guy had, so he was not able to build anything without his support, and as Mariano said, he was using him as a tool. So I think that was the meaning of this patron.
I'm not trying to avoid the question, but as Luis was saying, I'm thinking that the freedom they were looking for in the US is like layers, like the onions, Shrek could say.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, all these interactions they had were like kind. For example, the cousin was right. The cousin was like super nice guy. He gave this Laszlo a room, work, whatever, right? So, but very soon all these people started to acting like in an aggressive way. Once they look at Laszlo like a threat, they were trying to destroy him. So I had in my mind that the movie is trying to showing us these layers of different levels of freedom. In appearance, everyone is free here in America, and you can do whatever you want. But all the context start giving you like these obstacles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if part of the whole thing of this businessman is about that he wanted to look like a really nice guy, like a mecenas at the end. But once he started to feel out of control, he just threw everything away. It happened with the train. Probably it happened when he and Laszlo were at Italia, when this guy raped him. Probably it's just about the power and control, right? I'm not sure about the phrase this guy used, but it was like that he tells Laszlo, like, you think you're better because you are beautiful and not sure what else.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in that phrase, it's just like, hey, I want to control you. I want to be the center of it, and if I have to rape you, it doesn't matter. I mean, I can do it because I am in control, right?
Yeah. But I think it also is interesting, like you mentioned the cousin, like when he arrives, he's like welcoming and all. But I think what he represents at the most is like the mask you need to wear in order to prosper in America. So if you use it correctly, it's like you can level up your character if you are in the US. And if you don't do that, you are not allowed to do it. And so I think when Laszlo didn't acquire like the job at the end, like when they laid off and they didn't pay him, he no longer view him as valuable. And I think it's not necessary as he didn't like him or whatever. I think he had fun emotions for his cousin, but you start to see people as valuable and as profit. And so the whole world twists into this perception of what's important. And so you can see like all the stacks of power in that regard. And I think that's pretty interesting to see the whole journey of a character, but how he's not allowed to go up or down. Like he stays the same. And when he agrees to be with the patron, it's like when he goes to another level. But if he didn't do that, it's like you're screwed all your life. It's like that's pretty interesting. And so I think that's the thing that I got the most of the movie, and also the idea of freedom, of course, but the American dream, like the whole idea of you can build yourself in the U.S. But I think since the beginning, you see the Statue of Liberty, but it's upside down. You don't see it like properly, like in a magical way or like what you're used to. So I think that puts you in the mood of what you're going to experience in that regard. And I think it's because he was an immigrant, and so you're not allowed to acquire the proper dream, like in all
Yeah,
the
sure, to achieve
extension.
everything
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you could hear, right? Absolutely. I think that this hypocrisy is, I mean, it's not something that just a bunch of bad people do,
Yeah, yeah.
And are just those guys, right?
Mhm.
I mean, the hypocrisy is inside of the American dream and the American logic. As you said, the cousin is the perfect example. This guy just changed his name,
Mhm.
and also
Like the
was
Miller
like
and Sons, like I don't have a
Miller and
son, but it's
Sons.
like
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Was like, hey, you are not Miller. You don't have any kids, right? So, hey, is what I have to do
Yeah.
to improve to get to this other level of freedom, of course, and also to have more power, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And yes, the hypocrisy, I believe, is within the whole system and the whole way they saw the other as, again, as a tool or as something that I can use for my own benefit, not like human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I totally agree.
And also the competition, right? They are all, now I remember the rat race, they are all in the rat race. I think that is another way of presenting this slavery that we are in, that we feel that we are free, but we are subject to the system that tells us you need to buy certain things, you need to buy good clothes, buy a car, and whatever, so that you are you feel successful, right? And to get to that point, to get that level that you feel successful, you feel rich, you have, as you mentioned, to compete with other people. You have to do whatever it takes to get to that point, right? So it's a system that that we know it promotes competition rather than collaboration, and we could see that throughout the movie, right? He was always competing with. I mean, he didn't want to compete with anyone, but everybody there wanted to compete with him. They wanted take him away from the project. His cousin's wife lied to her husband just to get rid of him. So we can see also this state of competition, and that's about the environment, right? I also, I would like to ask you again about the freedom idea, because freedom and immigration, I think that those are other two main points of the movie. Because now I remember, for example, Animals Farm, right? Regarding freedom, like, okay, you feel free. I mean, he was first in Germany, the last one, and we know there was a bunch of problems, right? And then they moved to North America, to the US, and at the beginning everything was perfect, right? Like in Animal Farm, but eventually we could see all the problems and all the struggle with the rest of the people. So again, what does it take to be really free in a system like this, like in America or in the capitalist modern world?
Well, in that way, I would say that freedom is to own. So if you own, you are free. I think that's the only way. But if you own, you are actually possessed by the thing that you own. So you're not really free. But you are in a better position, I would say, than Laszlo, or in that regard, like an immigrant. So it's not really about freedom. It's more about in which part of the system you are actually like witnessing your life, like. But I don't know what you think, Mariano, about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I mean, the whole capitalist system is built with that idea, of freedom, that you are, as long as you can consume and you can produce, and as long as you have something, it doesn't matter if you need to step on the other and destroy them and whatever, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The only goal is to have, and the only goal is to earn more and have more. And yeah, I mean, if you ask me, that's like the whole thing. And if you act that on mind, everything is. Everything and everyone is just another way to achieve those your objective. Maybe that's why this guy wanted to build this whole church or whatever this construction were. Because we already say that it's about power, about showing them that I have enough resources to build this thing. Again, the layers. At the very beginning, he says like, hey, this is a little town, but we can improve it, right? We can have this library and whatever, so the people can came here and
gather and all,
yeah, that's right. So that's like the first layer. But once you look a little bit deeper, this guy just wanted to show them that they can build this massive thing, of course. And also he wanted to, I'm not sure, like, something that I want to be the guy, the big guy. Nothing. More or less. Let me think about it, because I think we agree in the important thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also Senko commented something. He said that it's very interesting when the American dream comes from elsewhere that is not Latin America. So exactly, we are not the only developing countries, right? And in that moment, even China was a developing country just a few years ago, right? So I think that's exactly something interesting, because I would like to know your opinion about the American dream. Do you think that the American dream still exists, or we have better option. No? For example, China, I don't know. Right now I'm very interested about what they are doing, but do you think that the Latin America or other countries should follow like this, should follow suit with the new projects, or we should continue with America, or we should create our own project? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm totally against this idea of first export these development ways or systems. Right now we have the capitalism, the American way of life, but if you ask me, the best way to achieve a new beginning for the whole human race is to explore other options. I mean, China is trying to do their best, and they have their own cosmovision and ideas, and that's perfect, right? I mean, sure. I'm not sure if we should have the same system. I'm not sure actually if we need to look at the progress as a perfect timeline that you are in this step and you need to move forward to achieve something. If you ask me, maybe the progress is more like a route with different paths, and if we choose different, we can achieve different stuff. I mean, if you ask me again, it's impossible to believe for me that we are just in the only way possible to progress as a race. I mean, so yeah. That matter, I believe that there are or should be. We need to look for other ways to develop and other ways to conceive life. So yeah, that's the short answer.
Yeah, that's interesting. But in order to conceive those ideas, we need to first get rid of the master and the slave kind of way of viewing the world. And so, how do you produce it if there's no master and the slave? Because this movie actually represents that in order to build the world, you need blood and sweat and work. And so, if you if there's other way, how could we do it? Like it's interesting. But what I wanted to ask was what you think was the whole idea of Laszlo with this architecture? Like we see this massive and intertwined cathedral of sorts. But what do you think was his actual like vision behind the whole thing? Like you think it was like a metaphorical for the like prison camps, or what do you think was the idea of the whole construction, like the whole brutalist uh, building that you see at the end?
I believe that again is about layers, and those are related to the context.
Yeah.
I believe that the first thing is this guy just wanted a great job, something that give him money, so he can have a better life. That's like the first layer. About the building, he chose these materials because concrete, as he says, is something cheap. One second. So I'm not sure if once he started to build the whole thing, he changed his mind. If you remember, in a certain part of the project, like the second part of the project, this guy was like really upside down. I mean, he was like really nervous, angry, and he just wanted to finish it. I'm not sure if he was trying to, in one way, avoid all the issues of the construction, and the other one, he was just trying to finish that job, like again, as the mecenas, like a legacy.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if, how many layers we can find in this idea of build this thing. But yeah, I can see those. The material context, for in one way, the historical context, and of course the thing of leave something behind to be someone, so anyone can recognize you.
But
So I'm not sure of what do you think,
no,
Luisito?
yeah. Just let me just say that I was thinking when you said this, I never could find like a meaning behind the whole construction, but maybe it doesn't have to. Like capital just needs to produce. And so if you just build the whole thing, it doesn't, it's just massive and there's nothing inside. But I mean, you have the whole Christian thing in the middle, and because you need to give it to the region, but I don't think it needs to have a value, just to exist and to be produced and everything. And so Laszlo gets meaning by doing it, and the other man gets the power, and so the whole thing just comes out hollow, but it's so meaningful in the whole process. I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting how we
So
build things.
what are they looking for? I mean, they just are in the rat race. They
Yeah.
are just yeah, following the American dream in a certain way. And why do I have to do uh, to be someone?
Hmm.
I need to make this. I mean, like the whole objective was without any other meaning. So just to do it. Why?
Yeah.
Because I can. Because why not? Or what? What do you think?
What do you think, Luis? What do you think it's?
I think that like, there are two. I mean, this character, well, had, of course, he didn't have many options, right? Or probably yes. I mean, they decided to move to the US. As you said, the one way to become famous or to succeed was like following this idea of the American dream and like meeting these powerful people that eventually he had. He was lucky at doing, or we thought he was lucky, right? And it seemed that he was able now to finally exploit his full potential, right? But then we saw that it has a price. It wasn't for free, of course.
Yeah.
He was raped by this man, and of course, many things else could happen. I mean, so in that moment, it was a turning point for him because he had to say, okay, if I want to continue with this building and the support of this wealthy man, of course, I will be able to build several things, right? But at what cost, right? What happened with me? I mean, that other man would have done with him whatever he wanted because he was treated as a slave and as his bitch, basically. So it was, I don't know, I think there is a phrase that I always remember. My father used to tell me this phrase. I don't know if you have heard that it's better to be in Spanish, it's like it's better to be a rat's rat's head than a lion's tail, right? And it's better to be your own boss, even though you have a small project, you have a small company, than being part of being like the least part of being the scum of a big company, right? So, of course, there are some distinctions. Sometimes it's useful. I think that we can get advantage of the working, for example, at the company has its advantages. For this guy, for example, it was useful because he could meet different people, he could make contacts. So I think that I don't know, it's like the different options we face, right? When we are running a project and we say, okay, I am willing to do this, but what are my limits, right? So again, it's like the goal justifies the means. I don't know. I think that it depends on anyone, right? There are lots of artists that have said that to get successful, they have to have sex with the director and things like this, right? So it's like what everyone is willing to do in order to achieve their dreams, and if they want to take the long way or a shortcut. So I think that it's up to anyone, everyone's decision.
I really like that. Probably we can find another movie related to this idea of sacrifice, because it's really
It could be,
interesting.
yeah.
We can try to find something to talk about it, because of course it's there in the whole movie, right? I mean, it's not probably the central topic, but it's there, the idea of sacrifice. And following the idea of this path without an end, what happened with Israel? I mean, in the movie, it's not like a big thing, but the Zionist movement was there, and they were like more or less related, right? And if you ask me, and I want to ask you what your opinion about it, this Zionist movement was trying to transform themselves into the powerful people. So they stole land in the Middle East, and now in Israel they are the ones who have the control. I mean, if Laszlo and the Jews and all the other people had all these issues and need to fight back and need to work hard and whatever, now the Zionists went back to their land and play the same role, you know. So they are not trying to overcome this way to see life. They are not trying to find another meaning, another path, another idea of progress or whatever. They just moved to another place, and now they can use other people, other poor people, as tools, as whatever, right? So I'm not sure. Okay, so that's my idea. The movie do not have enough time to explore all of these, but we can see it when I forgot also the name of the niece, the one who was quiet, the half of the movie.
Yeah, something like that.
Like
Sophia,
Sophia,
yeah,
like with a C.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
She and her husband wanted to move to Israel, because a better life, because you will have a better job there or whatever. But at the end, they just wanted, of course, to find another kind of freedom. But at the end, as an historical fact, we can see that the Zionist movement just abused on the other part there in Israel. So my question is, what do you think about it? Do you think it's just the same but in another place? The same way the American people or the white people treat them but in another place? And the important question is, how can we evolve and find another way? I mean, I know that if you have the answer, probably you'll have the level of peace, of course, but let's try it.
Wanna go first?
Yeah, sure. It's a tough one, I know, but try it.
Well, I don't know if Leo can hear us. I
Yeah,
can't
sure.
see his.
I'm here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but you go, Luis. I just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that basically, I don't think that I'm not sure if the movie was suggesting that, like the abused became the abuser, but yeah, eventually we can see that in many ways it happens, right? So So yeah, I think that it's like we have this choice, right? If you are abused, it's like in every person in people's lives, right? If you have abuser parents, it's very likely that you are going to become an abuser with other people. So I think that it's important to break that mindset if we are looking for different options, alternatives. I think that we have talked about it several times before. I think that we have changed several things, but especially values and specifically competition. Needs to be replaced by cooperation, right? So in order to stop seeing each other as enemies and trying to step on other people to succeed, I think that it's better. We have more to win if we collaborate and we work together to work in our society. And we have seen those values in, for example, indigenous people. Once I watched a documentary here in Chiapas, and it was a community I told you before, Mariano. It was very interesting because it's a community in Chiapas and Guatemala that they were building their own electric system, so that they didn't have to rely on companies and on the government, because they thought that they were very abusive and they would charge them high rates. So they were working together and they organized and they trained, or they got the young people were engineers and scientists, and they built the whole stuff, and it was working pretty well. So I think that could be like an alternative. We took that principle to the whole country, to the whole. Talking about Mexico and Latin America, I think that it could work better for us.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay, I agree with that. But how can we try to apply those ideas? How can I convince not my neighbor, my roommates, that it's better to respect the other space on the fridge, or to get clean the kitchen? I mean, it's really tough, even in those insignificant levels. How can we convince the whole society that it's better to work not for me, but for the other one? You know?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's an answer. I want to believe that it's possible.
Well,
of course.
maybe we could use this answer as a pathway for our next movie. Like, I don't know. I don't think we can be able to solve it like right now. But if we think, if is there another way, like outside of the suffering, outside of these systems, outside of, I don't know, just individualistic way of living? Maybe we could try and see if there's another way. I just wanted to add that maybe the ending of the Brutalist has more meaning than what we initially kind of see, because we saw this whole massive epic of a movie, like this struggle of a man to build himself, to leave a legacy and whatever, and then at the end it's like so light, like so the atmosphere is so light, like it's like a convention, and you there's no struggle, like there's no nuance in there like we saw before. And so the cousin comes in place, and she, I believe, is in a better position than what she used to be. Like she's now in a better way, you know. And she said at the end that it's not really the journey but the end. But I think that's not true. I think that's a rhetoric. I think that that's the way precisely that how the world is built. Like if you see it as an objectivistic kind of way, and so it's just the end. But we saw that the end it's meaningless. Like the whole construction doesn't have meaning. But I think that if you see the world in this regard, it's just, I mean, we saw it before, like all the facts, everything that came before. And so we as an audience can be more critical of that idea of it's not really about the end. It's not even about the journey. It's more about how do we get rid of this kind of oppression and false dreams. And so I think the very ending is another false dream, like another way of perpetuating this unending way of oppression. I think it's pretty good. When I saw it, I didn't like understand it properly, but I gave it a shot, and I think that's interesting to to see this way of just making like a fabrication of dreams, but we saw what came before, and so it's
Absolutely. I believe that it's the whole cosmovision of of this American dream transform all the bad things that happen in the whole process of the whole movie into something meaningless, and this society give Laszlo this was a prize or whatever, right? But at the end, all what he experienced was terrible. He was there in a wheelchair, just like, yeah, thank you very much, and
yeah,
nothing else happened, right? I mean, it's like watching the whole system trying to wash their hands. Like, hey, yeah, we treat you like shit, but here's your prize. We can recognize all your work, and you're an amazing guy.
yeah.
So, okay, and what else? What happened with all with all the issues in their lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I totally agree that this ending of the movie shows how the system works at the end. It's even the whole movie could be in this idea. So the years passed through, and now we can make a movie about how bad we were, but about also how we give this guy this prize and recognition or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a part of the whole cosmovision, a part of the whole way they do things, right?
Yeah, pretty twisted. Yeah.
Yeah, really twisted. It's like, yeah, that's why it's. Are you willing, or are we willing to take this way? I mean, to do whatever it takes to be successful. Is it worth it? That's what I would wonder, right? Is it worth it all? As you said, all the issues he had to go through, get to that point that he was recognized with an award. I don't know. It's up to everyone, right? So, and Senko also commented another questions. The first one, he said the problem is that the USA is always the first choice. Of course, there are other. Well, I don't know if you agree, but yeah, I think right now we have several more options, right? Not only the US, fortunately. And another point, he has a question: when freedom becomes debauchery, libertinaje.
Yeah,
that's a question. I mean, I believe that freedom becomes debauchery when there are no rules, right? I mean, first we mentioned that there are institutions are needed to control. I mean, to control and to maintain the balance and order in society, right? So if we don't follow those rules, and of course, if those rules are also not aligned with the people's reality and the people's needs, and if there is no concern, we don't agree with those rules in general, if they don't follow or are not purposed to be in the favor of the well-being, the society's well-being, of course, there can be going to a. I mean, we are not, or some individuals want to follow those rules, right? So it becomes a debauchery if we are just following, or again, if we are just thinking about ourselves and we don't think about the others. Basically, it's that. I think that.
I have I have those two answers. The first one, Kant, the philosopher, Kant has this distinction between freedom, the positive freedom and the negative freedom. The positive is the one who recognizes that can do whatever they want, but they avoid to do it because I know that I can harm the other ones. That's the positive. The negative is these people that say, hey, I'm free and I can do whatever I want. It doesn't matter if as the mecenas, right? Doesn't matter if I need to step on everyone, or doesn't matter if this guy or the other dies. Doesn't matter anything. So Kant has this distinction between those ways of freedom, and I think that's like the two paths that we can choose. First, the second one, I was thinking that yes, of course, these institutions are made to follow these kind of rules, right? But sorry, the institutions are made in a certain perspective, so the institutions works to trying uh, to force people to stay in the same status, you know. So let me find an example. For example, the black people, they had these. I mean, they were slaves, right here, there in America, in the U.S. So the whole institutions are made to follow those rules, but it doesn't mean that the rules are correct, are good rules, or is a better way to do it. So I agree that we need those so we can manage the relation with the other, but not to accept the rules and the institutions as okay, it's everything perfect. We can and we need to change those so they adapt to the people, to us, and not in the other way. So that's my answer in two ways.
Yeah, I also think it the debauchery that Senko presents. I wouldn't say it's like present in the movie, but I don't think it's kind of just if you follow the capital, then you're allowed to do it. So if you just do acts that are beyond that capital, it's like pointless because you are not making a profit. So I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing to balance. I would say it's just a balance of sorts, not going all the way to either side, but a sort of dance in the middle would be a good way of walking this life. But I'm afraid almost need to leave, boys. I need to go with my. Like I have like 15 more minutes, maybe. So
I mean, it's all right, don't worry,
yeah,
because actually, as Senkos said, we started the whole conversation
yeah.
at 10:30, so we have almost an hour here.
Oh, really?
I think
I
it's
think it's
right.
pretty
I
good.
mean, yeah, it's pretty good for the first interaction.
Uh,
I really like it.
what do you say, Senko? Yeah, you enjoy it? What are your commentaries on this first? Like, we need to give more maybe backstory of the movies that we're watching, or what do you recommend? Maybe a little bit, like to give a summary in some sorts. And but I think the topics were good. I'm just want to see the transmission. Like, how can I be in the same screen to not now be invisible the whole conversation?
Yeah,
But
sure.
yeah, I think it was
Perfect.
good.
Then, Luisita, do you have any other comments of David?
Yeah, the last one. He also said that superiority will always be present between classes. Although in his case he was a migrant, so
Yeah,
yeah, we know this class struggle, right? That Marx was talking about. So there will always be this kind of well, we don't know if always. I hope not, but for the moment, yes, that's true. And he was. It was very. It's very difficult, right, for someone like Laszlo. And I think that it's, we can also relate to Latin Americans because it's basically the same thing overall. It's pretty similar, right? That they go to the US or to a superpower with this dream of becoming, I mean, having more resources and being more successful and thrive in life, basically, and be able to support their family. So So yeah, it's pretty similar. So again, I think that I don't know if the movie suggests that, or in some way I think it does. Like it's not the best option, right? There must be more or better ways to thrive in life, and probably as Leo said, is I don't know, probably we don't need to follow this capital idea, right? It's not probably there's more meaning on what we do beyond the profit. So yeah, probably of course profit is important. We know that even I mean all the world is working, is still working in a capitalist idea. We need to make profit in order to pay all the expenses in a company, in order to give people employment and etc. Right? But yeah, probably we can change it, we can modify it a little bit how it works, this idea, and probably especially the prioritizing people and nature more than profit itself, right? Using profit as a tool and not people and nature as a tool. So I think in general that could help. As you said, probably we won't find the whole answer in this movie. Probably we can figure it out little by little with more movies and books, and also discussing in
Sure.
future movie clubs.
Well, I think this is a good foundation to start with this project. Like it's there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second, because I already said Senko. I mean, just to avoid these losing information between messages.
Yeah.
I asked him if he has Discord, so he can join us real quick, and he can give us all the comments. More or less, he said that it was a great conversation and also a great movie with a lot of deep topics. So yeah, I mean, he liked it, but he's also a yo-yo like us. So yeah, it's a great point of view. I mean, if he has no way to join us, it doesn't matter. I can discuss it with him and give you through the WhatsApp group the comments. Give me 1 second. He's typing.
Yep.
But yeah, okay, I agree. Okay, doesn't matter. Don't worry, David. Now he does not have the app. He will install it. So yeah, one step after the other one. Okay, I really like it. I have some notes about how can we improve, and that's it. We can discuss it. Anything else?
Great. Well, just to whoever is watching, we'll be creating another channel soon, and maybe we'll re-upload this video to that new channel and keep with the updates, and just watch the Brutalist. Pretty good.
Very good movie.
Yeah.
Very good movie.
And it was long, but it wasn't like boring in any moment. Like it's actually pretty well done. Yeah.